Your relationship with pleasure and dopamine is holding you back. Let me explain. We're living through a hidden epidemic right now. Most people have more in common with a drug addict than any of their idols, and they don't even realize it. Look, I'm not a guru, and I don't claim to have all the answers. I'm just a guy that spent a large percentage of my life struggling with my mental health, and after years of research and struggle, I finally figured out something that works for me, and I intend to share it with you in this video. The solution for me was recognizing that I have an addiction to dopamine, and then figuring out what I can do to eliminate my dependency, which is incredibly hard to do considering your brain is constantly creating dopamine. So it's not as easy as simply avoiding pleasure. I learned that in addition to doing that, I would also need to seek discomfort. Seeking discomfort is a term that we hear a lot of in the self-improvement world, but what are some reasonable and effective ways that you can do this? For me, I started with the basics, like a cold shower, uncomfortable sauna sits, increasing my intensity at the gym, which are all great places to get started, but in order to truly experience the benefits, we need to take it a step further. Seeking discomfort is essentially about providing contrast. If you're always comfortable, that comfort loses its value. So one of the ways we can actively seek discomfort that we can control in our daily lives is targeting the things that make us feel comfortable. For example, a few times a month, I'll try to sleep on the floor in my living room or kitchen instead of the comfort and warmth of my bed, to remind my body and my mind of what a luxury it is to enjoy a comfortable mattress. Now, of course, sleep is incredibly important, so I try not to do this all the time, but it is something that I try to incorporate when I can. The second major comfort that I set out to conquer was my eating habits. At this point in my journey, I had already quit using nicotine and alcohol, so the only major comfort I still continued to abuse in my life was food. So in order to reestablish a sense of value and gratitude towards my food, I decided to make it about survival instead of pleasure. The way I did this was figuring out what sort of nutrients I needed and then creating a bland, basic, boring meal that I would eat for every meal every day during my dopamine detox, which is usually about 6 to 8 weeks. This is my way of taking the pleasure out of food, but still eating what was necessary to continue to see progress in my fitness journey. Now, it's important to understand that dopamine is not your enemy. It is your relationship with dopamine that's the problem. Your brain needs to relearn how to function without constant stimulation and pleasure. That way your adrenal gland has time to rest and recharge. That's why the most important piece to this puzzle is going to be screen time reduction. This was easily the hardest part for me. I didn't realize how addicted I was to my phone until I actually tried to avoid it. Now, obviously, with the way the modern world works, reducing your screen time to 0 is unlikely, but what I did instead was avoid unnecessary screen time. And what I mean by this is no TikTok, Netflix, social media, or video games. The first week was more difficult than I could have ever imagined, but one of the things that helped me succeed in this area was replacing my screen usage with reading. At first, I had to force myself to read each page. But with time, my brain readjusted to slow-paced reading, and eventually I started to actually look forward to reading my book. There was a period of time during the detox where I hadn't even thought about my phone for days at a time. I went from staying up way too late because of my end-of-day routine usually consisted of watching TV shows and then doom scrolling on TikTok for way longer than I should have, to now reading a good book, getting tired, and falling asleep much quicker and much earlier than I used to be able to. I ended up getting better sleep, waking up earlier, and having way better workouts because of it. The amount of time you need to spend in your detox period will be different for everyone. I found that full commitment for 6 to 8 weeks gives me the best results. However, it may be longer or shorter depending on how addictive your personality is. The important thing to remember is that your goal is to rid yourself of the dependency you have on the things that give you a constant flow of dopamine and comfort, like your phone or video games. So the best way to figure out how long you should do this for is by paying attention to how you feel. The detox period is going to feel incredibly uncomfortable and boring since you're used to constant stimulation. You'll know it's been long enough when it's no longer a battle to keep yourself away from the things that used to provide you comfort. For me, the first time I fully committed to a dopamine detox, I spent weeks battling the urge to grab my phone or party or play video games. But around the 6-week mark, I stopped thinking about it. It wasn't difficult for me to avoid those things anymore, so I simply enjoyed that state of mind for a couple of weeks and then slowly started to allow myself to enjoy some of the things that I had gotten rid of over the last couple of months. The comparison between how I felt pre-detox and post-detox was a night and day difference. Now, I'm not a psychologist by any means, but I can tell you that providing myself with that kind of contrast and allowing myself to experience discomfort and boredom for an extended period of time made my life better in ways that are hard to explain unless you share a similar experience. I felt like I had reset my baseline. I no longer needed something good to happen for me to be content or happy. I didn't need entertainment or video games or some other vice to get me through the day. Through my discomfort, I discovered peace. I know it sounds cheesy, but I truly discovered something that I had no idea even existed within myself. It literally changed my life, and now even when I start to feel down or depressed again, I know what the solution is, and it makes it just that much easier to commit to the detox every time that I need it. My last video unfortunately got age restricted, so with this video there are a few steps and things that I did not go over that are important for the dopamine detox as well. I included a written step-by-step for the remaining things that we didn't get to go over in this video in our free Discord community. We started it in the last video, and it's grown more than I could have ever imagined. Not only is it a place where we can share thoughts and ideas that we can't go over in videos, but it's also a place where we can all lean on each other for advice and share life experiences. I've included another invite link in the description of this video if you'd like to join. Thank you for watching, especially if you've made it this far. If you enjoy our content, make sure to like and subscribe. These videos consume a surprising amount of my time, and liking and subscribing is a free way to support me.